Good morning, peace and blessings. This is Lisa Marie. I hope you are perfect, whole, and complete. Hope you're having a great morning. And yeah, I think I'm a little sleepy. But I feel like it's more my spirit. It's not sleepy. My spirit is at a resting state. Yeah, I feel like I'm in a resting state even when I'm up. So I call it a meditative state. Yeah, meditative state. So I hope you are all well, perfect, whole, and complete. Hope you have a beautiful day or evening. I mean, you could be anywhere in the world, right? So I was drawn, or I was instructed to do this video, and it's just a reminder, right? Hey, good morning. I see people. So yeah, it's happy Sunday too, by the way. It's just a reminder. That's all I want it to be, right? I know this world, particularly when you're in certain parts of this world, the world is changing. And a lot of times when we say the world is changing, what we really mean is our world is changing. We're not really as concerned about the rest of the world, and that's what a lot of societies, quote unquote, superpowers, have taught us that our world is the only world that matters, but in actuality, we're finding out that that's not true, right? That's another one. We're finding out that that's not true, that we are all so connected. And the reason why it's so important to stay connected to other worlds is because a lot of times the other worlds probably had more sensibility, connection to the earth, connection to the divine, connection to spirit, than our so-called superpower world that teaches us that rewards you for being a rugged individualist, to create and only care for your what they call nuclear families, to go against the idea of multi-generational homes, take away the need, interesting, I use that word, to grow your own food, to build your own homes, to own your own land, right? When you are stripped away from these things in the name of modernity, you actually start to think that you are, in some ways, on higher ground, that you are superior to those who believe in multi-generational homes, who believe in owning and farming on your own land, who believes in growing your own foods and also building your own homes, right? Who believes in community or village energy as opposed to the rugged individualism. They told you that that was backwards, that was slow, and that was wrong because it was not producing a profit. So these so-called first world nations have decided that if I can get you to focus only on profit, but it's a game because in actuality you never really make profit. You'd be happy or lucky if you make enough to pay all your bills for the month, knowing that another month is coming. You're just happy if you paid all your bills for the month. Unfortunately, again, knowing that another month is coming. So this idea of you as the wealthy nation, on an individual level, you're probably not that wealthy at all. The idea that those that live closer to the earth are poor in poverty is really not true because that is where the real wealth is. And you don't miss your water till your well runs dry, do you? You don't realize that having others control your food and the disbursement of it is actually detrimental to your life. You're starting to think about the farmers or those other places in the world where the people live closer to the earth and can actually feed themselves because the divine created an abundance of food. There used to be enough clean water, so therefore enough clean fish for the people to eat. Enough ground for the seeds to grow, and that's fertile. Enough air, fresh air to breathe, and enough clean water to drink. And the people that are closest to the land are the ones that knew this. and even try to teach the newcomers to the land about this its history or information. But because they were not clothed in that of a suit or tie or whatever the European clothing of the time, because they were closer to the source of creation, because they encompassed all of what was natural with the feathers in their hands, using their feet as drums to call up ancient spirits, predicting the weather patterns, working with nature and not against it. There were many indigenous people that actually understood the flow of, believe it or not, the fish and the salmon, and that they understood that the salmon flowed a certain way at a certain time, and that was when they could gather more food. But it was the ones that are so ruggedly independent and so focused on the profit that decided that no, we're going to redirect the water flow, because places, deserts like Los Angeles, that is not able to actually doesn't have a water source because it's a desert. We're going to redirect water to there and forget the continuity of the indigenous people and their flow of food and their food source. I mean, when we decided to build tall buildings of asphalt and cement that holds in a tremendous amount of heat, we actually started the onslaught of global warming. And we decided that we could keep ourselves cooler through mechanisms like air conditioning when we already had the trees that were the perfect source of air conditioning. We became destructive. And we, as the inhabitants or the diasporic people of coming out of Africa, were brought to America, I would say as guests, but that's not what we were. There were people already living there before we got there. And we also got disconnected because we knew all of this when we were in Africa. We understood. Even the African today will poo-poo on the village energy and living closer to the land, because in their minds, there's no way to make money. And so they also are stuck in the clock of hustling, never getting ahead, 20 years later not having more, and basically ruining families for so many different reasons. I believe that until we get right with the indigenous people of the world, the ones that was pushing us or pulling us in the right direction of how to live in harmony with nature, we're going to suffer until the land is given to the rightful people, particularly in the Americas, because the Americas is what's really seeming to be suffering from destruction and greed, and thus is why Babylon is falling. And the inhabitants, which is us, we have fallen for the okie doke. We got to put the fan on. We have fallen for the okie doke. Yes, we have. We don't even understand what's going on, nor do we care. All we care about is, I was at work, so I wasn't paying attention. I was at work, so I don't really care what happens with other people. I am a foundational Black person, so those people being taken away has nothing to do with us. We're just going to mind our Black business. Well, actually, you're going to be the Black business, as you have always been the Black business. And you're not going to like it because the prophet will be you. And once again, it will be your human flesh and your human body, because you are not paying attention. Even in our spirituality, it is so individualistic. Nobody really cares about the planet, not understanding the destruction of. Nobody really cares about their fellow brother or sister. And I'm talking about more than just that nuclear family where if you're not born from my blood, then we're not family. We really need each other. But until the natives are restored to their rightful place, until the true indigenous people get what was stolen from them, the red, white, and blue will always feel hell. And until we, as foundational Black folks, start acknowledging our part in the destruction of brotherhood and sisterhood amongst all that are not of the other hue, we're going to fall too. Until we stop talking about natives as if they're in the past and acknowledging that harmony is not going to be restored, until we put those and support those that deserve to be in their rightful place. See, they understood the idea of nature and that was more important than anything else. You know, the newcomers act like the air is, we don't really need it. We can commodify that. The water, we don't really need it. We can commodify that as well. And in actuality, we're going to perish because we are not brotherly and sisterly anymore. We have lost ourselves. So until I believe in the red, white, and blue that the native people are returned to their original place and that they get all of their land back, the red, white, and blue will suffer and suffer daily. But there's a revolution coming. The young people are understanding who they are. They're understanding that they still do exist and they still are alive. And there's going to be a revolution. And it will be televised. It will be televised in the music, in video form, at powwows, and other things that gather the people together. And we'll just have to watch, because maybe in watching, we'll remember some part of our ancient self that used to understand the connection of ourself and the earth and be better human beings to the earth. Maybe we'll wake ourselves up out of complacency and just stop thinking about the job. And when we sit in our times of silence, when we sit in our times of silence, we won't turn on the television. We won't turn on the YouTube. We won't turn on the things that actually distract us. We'll turn on the light that connects to the divine within us. We'll turn on our higher selves. We'll start to conjure. We'll use our words wisely. We'll lift up humanity through our words, sound, and power, and our light. But if you keep chasing the dollar and worrying about today, and because those people don't look like you, they're not you, you will suffer too. You think it's not going to happen to you. You think the other people deserve it for whatever reason. Divide and conquer, I guess. But you're going to be next because you are asleep. And it's time for all of us to wake up. That is my message for you today. I hope that you have received it and understand that we have to return back to ourselves, our spiritual selves, our natural selves, ourselves that's in harmony with nature. I'll see you in the next one. Love you all. Peace and love.